So I have been known to the family of R.K. Sinha for a number of years prior to I formally joined SIS. We happen to be both families living in the same locality in Patna. I was born in Patna, so was he. And I did have an inclination of what he's going to do. We were in fact in schools together. I always wanted to be a professional, and that's where I took my route. He wanted to be a journalist as far as I know him. And that was his first love. But as the years rolled by, I think the opportunity of, Bangladesh war and many things probably brought him to a point where he thought of rehabilitating the people who were discharged from army or such people who were at the bottom of the pyramid with no skills at all. So there was something in his mind which he blew up as setting up a security company. And he did mention it as security and intelligence. So obviously the idea was that he has an entrepreneur persona, a mind, and an entrepreneur thinks in many different ways. It so happens that, I remained associated, and whenever I used to visit my parents, he would take me to his set of people, to his training institute at Garhwa, and ask me to make a speech on management practices to the young people who were there but joined SIS. But I was not aware about what are the business prospects for his company or that matter security industry. We remained close friends. I went my way. In fact, I am a person from steel industry, and I was a leading consultant in Mekon. I was probably the youngest executive director. I shifted my base to Bangalore. That was year 1992. And the current GSW started from what was known as Jindal Vijayanagar Steel Limited. It was done in record time. I headed the management functions. And after that, I joined a multinational called Praxair, industrial gases company. We remained in touch, both me and RK, all throughout this journey of mine. I kept on hearing that where he is doing what he is doing, he shifted his base to Delhi. That's how SIS, from a purely located Eastern region player, came to be known as a national player. And I could see his passion, his deep penetration of everything. But obviously an entrepreneur is not always a very professional person because they are at crossroads to each other. So once we were talking and I made a presentation to him, out of all the data that I assembled from the company, that his personal brand was huge, whereas the size of SIS was disproportionately small. I think he had called Rituraj for that presentation from London. And I told him after some years, SIS will move away from the entire security market, whereas your brand will probably grow many-fold. So what do you do as a successful entrepreneur, business manager? He said, why don't you join me? I was busy in my life. It was a pretty good life. I was heading Praxair, a multinational company. I had no intent to join. But then such an occasion came up in 2002. I was being moved as APAC chief to Shanghai, which I declined. And I found RK with me that why don't you join SIS? And that I had no hesitation. I knew there are formidable challenges, but I also knew that what he had set up are amazing. Sort of a culture in which every employee is bound and treated as a family person. Frankly speaking, I was contemplating, this is a mass of huge potential, great expertise. They were like rough cut diamonds. They were all needed to be sharpened by somebody. And probably comes the time and comes the man. The founding period was over. It was now poised to become a big player. And my role was cut out. Bring professionalism into the company. We started with basic things, what is annual business planning, what is resource planning, what is KPI, how do you count? And frankly speaking, I have never found so much satisfaction in my entire career as I found in 16, 17 years that I was here. Because nothing was impossible for the SIS team. Whatever we gave as assignment or as targets, they overdid that. And from, if I remember correctly, 22 crore company when I had joined. By 2017, when I retired, it had grown to something close to 12 to 14,000 crore company. Profile had changed. In 2008, we acquired a company in Australia from UTC. It was called Chubb. We rebranded it as MSS. And amazing fact is that it was 7 times our size when we acquired it. And arranging finance for that acquisition was a big challenge. Nobody funds you for that. We had a private equity which had funded in 2004, D. Shaw. They had walked away from that because if you recall, 2008 was also the year of global financial crisis. So against all odds in the world, financial crisis, 7 times our size, we were able to stage a coup and acquired it. Yes, I do give some credit to myself because I had a background. I had earlier done about 28 acquisitions in my prior 10 years, and that helped. But I think that passion was provided by Rituraj, who was younger. We had a group finance chief at that time, whom we brought from outside. Arvind was always a support. And support from the founder chairman was always available. I mean, he had taken up, that's what an entrepreneur is. He said, what will happen? I came with, his exact words were, when I came to Delhi to do business, I only had a rupee. And if this goes bust, what will happen? I'll be again at the same end. That's what an entrepreneur takes risk for. My job was to make it successful. I stayed there for 3 months. We started the process of delivering huge amount of cash from that company. Nothing fundamentally was wrong. It only required proper management to run it. That's what we started doing. I still run in some way that company, even though I have retired, and I'm a director on the board only, but I still have a look at the international business of SIS. That gave us the major springboard matter. Company suddenly started being counted as one of the largest companies in India. Today it is largest. At that time, Group 4 was bigger than us. But it all started to fall in places. The same year, on the strength of the training academies, the training capabilities, the manager cadre that we had, and the way we are growing. And let me remind you, we're growing 45% CAGR year on year from 2002 to almost 2012. I think it's a record will never be repeated because the base effect will now take place. But that's what it happened during that decade. In 2008, same year, American ServiceMaster cleaning company, they collaborated with us. We got Terminix from US. We also wanted to go to UAE. We had serious discussions with TransGuard. Unfortunately, we couldn't make that acquisition. The pricing was high. But we did a number of other things. By the time I retired and new generation in the form of Rituraj and his team took over, we had 2 more acquisitions, 2 more security companies, one in South, Unique Security, one in North, SLV. Total aggregated volume, if you can imagine, from where RK started to where 2002 the company stood at, we have seen a growth which is unparalleled in the annals of any company, leave aside SIS, in security space. We reached the logical end. We reached a logical end in the sense that 2017 we listed our company in IPO at about 1.2 USD dollars value. Again, we became, I think, one of the largest in Asia Pacific, excluding China. We are the largest player in Australia today. We are the largest player in New Zealand today. We are the largest player in India today, much above G4S, which was our benchmark to look at and go beyond that. Now, this journey looks impressive in terms of data. What is more important and critical, I believe this is a story of very ordinary people achieving extraordinary results. What is Infosys to IT industry in India. I think SIS is to security industry in India. If you look at the pyramid, the bottom of the pyramid are the unskilled guards whom we have trained, and with the attrition that they have, I'll give you just one data. We have got close to about 280,000 people on the roll with about 40% or 50% attrition rate in India in that segment. We must have trained close to about 2 million people during this entire journey. 2 million people, each family having 4 members. We have been responsible for 8 million mouths to be fed well. That social transformation, nobody recognizes, although everybody sees how much of EBITDA you make, how much growth you have. Giving 8 million people almost bread to eat, that is like providing security and safety to the most unprivileged people. Though our nature of our company and business is to provide security to the industries, to the society, to the malls, to the other places, but that is this fundamental security which we provided to the people. That's a social cause. I think that is somewhere a chord which unified me with RK. I also believed in providing that. He always believed in providing that. The second is the development of the managers. All managers, the graduate trainee officers who are taken as the base, they go through a mentoring process, a fundamental transformation process. And I worked in my life with large number of people coming out from IIMs and IITs. I can tell you the kind of delivery these people did when they were mentored and told how to do it. No one can match that level. We have close to about 800 managers to 1,000 managers, and each one is capable of delivering nothing less than 50 crores of business, profitable business, while also meeting all the requirements of a compliant listed company. This transformation is amazing, and that will continue to fascinate me always. It has been the most satisfying part of my journey in SIS, that we did not only achieve the business results, we achieved transformation of managers, and we helped the cause of those people underprivileged, didn't have any skill, didn't have employment, and that continues today. So yeah, that has been the journey. Post 2017, I sit on the board. I'm not part of the operating management, which is in the safe hands of Rituraj, his teammates. Once the direction is shown, what becomes easy is to follow that route. What becomes challenging is the base effect. Now everyone expects SIS to continue to deliver that kind of result. From a low base, you can do that. From a higher base, it's far more difficult. That's a challenge for any successful company. To become successful is a challenge. To remain successful is bigger challenge. And to outgrow your success is even a bigger challenge. What I could do for these people, post my retirement, I have set up startups. And one is a large one, probably next year it will be unicorn, called Better Place. Better Place Safety Solutions. So Better Place is for kind of guards and the janitors and the plumbers and all others whom we verify the character. And so we go through a verification process. Then there is skill level. Put them on that platform. And then the customers are put on that platform. So they need people, they get there. But that's not just the meeting point of customer and the people who would like to be served. It's about tracking his life cycle management. Then we see out of 100 people who join, let us say as technicians, 5 are showing exemplary track record. No stigma, no deviation, absolutely, addicted to his job. It's like a CIBIL rating for an organization. We have a rating, we are privileged. They don't have any rating. How do you distinguish between a good guard and bad guard? So we started doing life cycle management. So at definite points, good growing guard or good growing housekeeping guy or a technician will be dropped incentives. At this point, you will be given insurance. At this point, you will be given fintech. At this point, something else. And a lot of trainings through chatbots. Now, out of 100, I can proudly say that 25 do climb up to the cadre of being operational executives. Some become even assistant managers. That is something well funded by venture capitals. Maybe we'll have an IPO next year. But that sense to me came from working here because this fascinated me. And it always fascinated me that how much we celebrate our successes, but we are privileged people. We had right mentoring, right showing of direction at the right time. Most of the people that we are interviewing today is a sad story of how a young man in India doesn't know what he has to study. He's doing BCom, he doesn't know why he's doing BCom. My idea came, the second startup is about telling you at the right time what is good for you, what you're temperamentally suited for, where you should go, and then go there and acquire that particular qualification. So this, in fact, my journey at SIS has given me, as you say, seed for number of startups. Bangalore, as you know, I stay there, is a city of startups. There are great people who will help you, will provide fund. And I'm old now, so other young people do that. But yes, we deliberate. These are all, offshoots of SIS. Like I was in a steel industry, a large steel industry gives rise to at least 50 mini plants there for different ancillaries, or 100. An entire township comes around Bhilai steel plant or a Bogaro steel. SIS has been a blaze trailer actually in the sense of giving these thoughts. Had I not interacted with these people, had I not experienced this, probably I would not have been the man that I am. On the hindsight, I believe that had my journey with SIS not taken place, probably I would not have been the man that I am today, evolved spiritually and otherwise, and would not have been sharing the benefits of my journey, my experience of SIS with many others. I've set up a few startups which are focused on bottom of the pyramid, which I learned to know and experience from my journey in SIS. Sometimes in your life, a penny drops. My journey in SIS, I think somewhere in my life, the penny dropped. I realized the purpose of my life. I'll respond to this in ways which may be taken as radical. At young age, if you do not have leftist leanings, you believe that, the resources must be shared by all. I'm a pakka capitalist, I must say that. Without earning capital, making capital, you cannot be a philanthropist. But the fact is that people at young age and even later must realize God placed your heart on the left-hand side. He wanted you to be leftist, share and give to others. SIS journey did teach me, and I must tell you that same goes with RK. Probably I haven't seen a giver like him. He will give day in and day out. He would not know if he doesn't have money in the bank, he is still distributing. I'm a little more professional. I will do it more organized manner. But the fact is that is something which each one of us should do. And there is a very good model called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of human needs. You start from providing basic safety and security. You end up at the top, self-actualization. I think my self-actualization was expedited by my journey in SIS. I realized the purpose of my life, which everyone eventually does. A successful life is not defined by what is the materialistic resources you have accumulated. It is more defined by what you have done and for what you will be remembered. So SIS does provide you with those opportunities. You do hear certain things which are not just part of being professional manager. You touch the chords, which are human chords, and do a lot of phenomenal things. I remember the day when we both agreed, or let me say that I accepted that I will join. He was very happy. His first reaction was, let us celebrate laddus today. That's the man he is. He's simple-hearted. He expresses himself in simple terms. And I think that he had more trust in me than I had in myself. That goes without saying that trust is the cord which connects both of us. That was the cord that he said, father can't mentor son. You will have an assignment to mentor Rituraj. And to this date, I am fortunate to have mentored him. I learned a lot of things from him because I keep on learning every day from the younger people. They have the impatience, they have the vision, they have the ability, they have the aggressiveness. We become more balanced as the years roll by. And that is all the pleasant memories that I always have with me, what all I learned here. I think SIS should be proud of that this is the first Indian multinational. Seeds were sown in a eastern region city of Patna. In 50 years, it has expanded its base not only to India, but to Asia Pacific. But I will still say that it has bettered the lives of many, many thousands and thousands of people who are at the bottom of the pyramid. It has earned so much goodwill of the people, and it has done so much for that part of the society. That is the greatest memory I have at this point of time. Challenges are formidable. To come to a high top of the mountain is tough. Staying there is tougher. Next 50 years, I see company should be the catalyst in bringing changes in the field of safety and security. The present ways of providing security will not be there. It will undergo complete metamorphosis. More electronics and solutions will come. It is easy to say that we are adopting that, very difficult to implement because mindset becomes an issue. No customer is happy not seeing physically the people guarding their premises. They must see them, and they're reluctant to go for complete electronics and complete manless security company. It also depends on culture. In Indian culture, we are dependent on people around in the house, physically and all. Western culture is they're used to being lonely, and if their house is monitored through electronic surveillance, it's fine. In Indian culture, that doesn't play. So we'll have to find, how to resolve these issues. The current management team is obviously trying to find out those solutions. It will be a long haul, and as you know that as you climb to the top, the space becomes narrower and smaller, and you have to not only survive, being a listed company, you have to show growth and growth to the shareholders. So it's going to be a challenging time, but I think it will be an interesting time. See, we know the ultimate destination. People will have to change to accept technology. The paths are with different kind of difficulties in different countries, in different cultures. In the western part of the world, the manpower cost became so prohibitive, they had no option but to change. And their mindset was being dependent on technology. And that's the reason why, the transformation period was short. In India, even a simple thing like, UPI payments, now people are feeling little afraid on seeing an SMS, which could be a genuine SMS. So there are always downsides with technology. And awareness of the larger part of the country who are at the bottom of the pyramid is very primitive. I have seen simple people in SIS sharing their ATM pins with colleague. You pull out money and send to my family. So there is just not the obstacles to, adopting technology, how it is done and how it is made safe. I think cybersecurity, probably India is producing the latest technologies to prevent cybersecurity. India will also have to find a way how to bring technology in the security offerings by SIS. And since the problem lies here, solution has to lie here. That's the challenge for the management. The decades of 80s and 90s were completely unorganized market in security. Anybody and everybody who could set up a security company, employing 10 people, 20 people, 100 people. There were no regulations. There were no minimum wages, no compliances. So long as you can hire able-bodied people and you can provide in customers' premises, that was the definition of security. In early 90s, G4S entered India. So right up to 2000, I think was a decade of people first time seeing a multinational security agency, how it can be different that the unorganized is split 30 to 40,000 Indian security providers. That was the huge change, a step change in the Indian security market. Then others started taking note of that, started consolidating, trying to understand that anybody and everybody cannot be a security guard. He has to be recruited, has to be trained, and then has to be put on the job. SOPs have to be written for what has to be done. Different layers of management has to come because you have to escalate the issues at different levels. That continued, as I said, up to 2000. And that is the time when I impressed on RK that, SIS needs to become professional unless, it is decided to disappear. So I would say the first decade of this century was the year when Indian security industry started noticing these changes. So at least 10 to 12, I would say, regional players, some of they don't exist today. Tops in Maharashtra doesn't exist today. That was the highest brand at that time. And some others started understanding what management can do to consolidate, create SOPs. But out of all of them, I think only RK had the vision and confidence and trust to hand over the business to a professional. Others did not do that. They are regretting, and I think he's enjoying. That's the difference in the period up to first 1.5 decades. Different verticals started happening because the market of facility management is much larger than security and is far more disorganized. So that started taking shape. Some few companies like Dusters, Total Solution, which we acquired later on, or SMC that we started, they all started giving formal shape to the facility management. And these verticals, all these verticals, government also started acting, regulation came. You have to be licensed person, you have to be licensed agency to offer services in security. So I would say that 2010 to 2020 has been the migration of these industries from completely disorganized place to semi-organized and consolidation, acquisitions taking place. Now there is a clear-cut distinction where we stand in 2021 for this decade. There are 5 large players and about 20 regional players which are strong, and the rest are fading away. They will remain confined to a particular location or particular kind of duty. Let us say a lot of people, rather than have a Nepali chowkidar, will have a security guard standing. Its brand is security, not the name. They will continue. In this country, because of cultural issues I said earlier, that will continue. But I see going further, far more ingress of technology. For simple reason that, let's talk of automotive sector. They have to be competitive. If they have to be competitive, they have to spend less on security, facility management and all of this. They have to be mechanized. They have to be technology driven. That's the only way to reduce cost. Because cost of technology reduces with every R&D. Last but very important thing is technology is a great disruptor. It disrupts everything that you see today. We are entering the age of disruptions now in security industry. As you can see that it's no longer the bombers who are bombing elsewhere. It is the drones who are bombing. It's no longer the terrorists being hounded by live army men. It is the drones which enter first. It is the robots which enter first. And then, find out if there is a hidden bomb. So we are, I think our country is getting prepared for that, but miles to go. I wish that somebody like RK becomes younger again. It starts with the seed of entrepreneurship and starts all over again. But yeah, I also have faith in young generation. They will do what is needed. See, leadership style of RK are very simplistic, very human focused. It's not that he doesn't like processes, he created processes. But as it always happens when you don't have resources, when you have resources which are adequate enough only to recruit ex-civil servants, ex-army people, because that's your budget. They bring with them decade-old bureaucratic processes, which are not in tune with private business management. And he had been struggling between the two. He knew in his heart and head that company has to be handed over to professional management. He always struggled. Maybe he was lucky in finding me, maybe I was lucky in finding him. I don't know. But the fact is, both collaborated well. I don't have the strengths of his systems. The kind of people he is spotted. He has an amazing sense of spotting, those human beings who will serve him for long term. And SIS is a story of that. People seldom leave SIS or people seldom retire from SIS. I wanted to write a new chapter that people should retire, but otherwise people don't retire here. So his style in particular, extremely human. I remember till about 2006 or 2007 when company was still not too large. Every single guard, his death, he will go and attend the funeral personally. That touches the chord of people. I don't think I can do that, but he could do that in spite of his health. Last but not the least, when you don't have capital, the monetary capital to start a company, what do? I know for sure that he put his health as the capital. He has suffered a lot. He still suffers from his health, but I think the fuel to the growth of this company in terms of capital has been the health of its promoter. This is always a way out, and you have to take the right calls. He's more of a person in the journey of entrepreneurship who has acted from heart. He seldom acts from head. And that is the success also of his uniting people doing amazing things for him. Sometimes even I reflect, why did I join? And then I think that it was his simplicity. That you walk in and I walk out. Not a single Indian promoter can make that statement. That's his style. I trust you, it's yours. His famous words are, you pose a problem and you say that how it can be done, and he will say, हो जाएगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. दिक्कत तो बहुत है, but he will keep up your confidence, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, हो जाएगा. It is never easy for a professional CEO to go and acquire in Australia a company 7 times of your size at a daunting value. What if you are not able to turn it around? The personal guarantees and the guarantee on SIS will bring him to the street. But he said, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, go ahead. हो जाएगा. That byword, I think most of the SIS managers will tell you. Not the new ones, the old ones. You have 10 things to do, you give them 2 more, and they will still say, हो जाएगा, sir. That's the positive spirit in which SIS has grown from where it was to where it is today. That's something, when you are successful, a lot of things are forgotten in the backyard. I think that when you are writing or when you're stating the history, one person that you are not recounting, behind the success of every man, there is a woman. I think Rita's contribution remains unnoticed. I remember the first graduate training officers batch when they joined, way back, I think somewhere in 90s. The way customers are these days welcomed in 5-star hotels, she had welcomed every graduate training officer. They never left this company. They feel part of family of this company. And then it rolled over year on year. That's why as a CEO, I had a very sweet spot. I never had to bother about attrition of managers. You train them, you mentor them, you add value, and you know that they will go on and on. In today's world, the average life of a manager in a company is about 2 years. We have here 30 years, 35 years. That's a big differentiating factor in the growth of SIS, for which single-handedly both RK and his wife are responsible. Yeah, once you set up a culture, it goes on and on and on.
After retiring from Sasasima Bal as commandant, I came and joined SIS. Private security is neither army nor police nor any other force. It has its own characteristics and character. Of security in every field was quite different from each other. And it was a challenge to train the person in that particular sphere. SIS has been arranging every year an international seminar. There is nothing like cheap security. Either you have an effective security or you don't have security.